I call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. All for attending this evening. It's always a special night when we have the Martin Luther King Awards. Please record the council attendance. City Clerk, please.
There are 5 council members present in person this evening, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Nick Wendell is joining us via teleconference, and Councilmember Duran is absent.
Thank you. Action to approve the agenda. Entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Avery,
Aye.
Niemeyer,
Aye.
Rasmussen,
Aye.
Specker,
Aye.
Tiltonburn,
Aye.
Wendell. Might not be on yet.
Okay. Motion passes. Item 4, open forum. Is there any member of the public who wishes to address the council on an item not listed on tonight's agenda? Okay. Move on to consent agenda. Approval of the consent agenda. Are there any items that need to be removed from the consent agenda? Entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Moved and second. Is there any public comment on any of the items? Council questions, comments? Please call the roll.
Niemeyer,
Aye.
Rasmussen,
Aye.
Specker,
Aye.
Tiltonburn,
Aye.
Avery.
Aye.
Okay, on to the fun business. Presentations and reports. I invite Diane Nagy from Human Rights Commission to come forward and help present these awards.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members, community members. My name is Human Rights Commission. The commission has been hosting an annual Martin Luther King Jr. contest since 2004. Dr. King was a proponent of human rights, and this contest is designed to engage our youth with his inspiring legacy, vision, and leadership. This year, we used the poster competition to launch a new anti-bullying campaign titled Promoting Empathy and Kindness, or PEAK. Dr. King understood that if we could learn to see the world from another person's perspective and to have compassion for others, we would be better equipped to create a more just and peaceful world. All Brookings County students in grades K through 12 were invited to choose a quote of Dr. King that promotes kindness and empathy and create a graphic illustration of it. We had 4 categories of contestants: K through 3, intermediate, middle, and high school. I'll now call on each of the winners, and they can come up to receive their award from the mayor. And parents, you're welcome to come up and take a picture as well. So in the kindergarten category for posters, the first place award goes to Kenley Grieve. Kenley, could you come? The second place awards goes to Demirilyn Medicine Horn. Demirilyn? And the third place for the kindergarten through 3rd grade posters goes to Auburn Rose Diaz.
Brent Dushek.
Has joined.
Congratulations to Marilyn. Now Auburn, want to come up? All right, in the next category, which is intermediate school, chic. And next is Juliet Beckman. And finally, Karma. Next, we move on to middle school posters. Isley C. won first place. And next up, Liliana Eckmeyer. Okay. And third is Lillian Timp. And the final poster winner is in the high school category, and that goes to All right, moving on to our essay contest, we have 3 categories: intermediate, middle, and high school. So for the essay contest, to identify 2 problems in their community and select a quote from Dr. King that inspires their solution. So I'm going to invite the first place winner, Stantor Jomo, to come up. And Stantor, I see that you brought your essay with you. Would you like to read it to us? Okay.
Solving problems the Dr. King way. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was a really great leader who helped fix some big problems, like making racism better. But there's still a lot of work to do in our cities and community and schools. Let me tell you a couple of things we need to work on. First up, bullying is a big deal because it messes up people's lives. It can make them super sad or anxious, and sometimes even make them think about really bad stuff. Bullying can even make people stop liking the things they love, like sports. I have seen how bullying has affected people in my life, and it makes me sad. My sister used to get bullied by her classmates because of her skin color. They made comments telling her race did not belong into the school. It became so sad that she felt unsafe and sad to go to school. If I was able, I would talk to the bullies about having sympathy and love for others, even if they're different from you. I want to teach the people in my community that our differences make us all unique. So it is never okay to put anyone down. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "We must live together as brothers or perish together as fools." So instead of fighting with bullies, we should try to speak to them and help bullies understand how their actions affect those around them. Dr. King would have solved it by talking it out peacefully. So I think my school and community should try doing that too. Dr. King always said, "Injustice everywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." This reminds me of the issue of climate change. Climate change is a big problem that affects everyone and everywhere. Even though our town might not be the only one doing with it, it is important for us to do stuff to help out, like building more energy-saving homes, planting more trees, encouraging more recycling. It is encouraging people from starting wildfires during the summer. I want to encourage my community to live a more sustainable life so that the earth, our only home, can last longer. This is very important to us young people because the future belongs to us, and our adults today are only borrowing the planet from us. Dr. King would have said we should act locally first, things globally, so our town can be an example for others to learn from. I want people in my town to live like Dr. King lived. We should try talking things out when it comes to bullying, and also do our part in the planet. Through this, we can make the earth a better place.
The next intermediate school essay is Jones.
In the Brookings School District, there's a lot of bullying and teasing. I see this practically every day, and I will sometimes hear very harmful words. Some kids get bullied and teased because they don't have nice things or other objects that other kids have, because their family cannot afford them. It makes me feel unwell inside to think about my friends who don't have enough money for specific needs. In Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech, he said, "As long as there is poverty in this world, no man can be totally rich, even if he has $1 billion. What I think he means is that having money does not mean you are rich. People can have a little money, but be rich in other things such as caring, kindness, thoughtfulness, and love. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. wanted everyone to get along. He wanted a world where there was no difference between people and that we all live in harmony. One thing we can do at the schools to stop or limit bullying is to let kids have the freedom they want, but to teach them that if they don't have good manners and say nice things, they won't get the privilege to hang out with their peers. I notice that kids who are rude and disrespectful to their peers and adults get awards, and that's not right. I feel like we need more staff that just deal with bullying and discipline. I I think we need more opportunities in our school to communicate with one another, even when there is a big problem. Martin Luther King Jr. said that people fail to get along because they fear each other. They fear each other because they don't know each other. They don't know each other because they have not communicated with each other. I learned the 7 habits of highly effective people at my old school. And one of those is seek first to understand that and then be understood. I think this means that people need to start understanding each other instead of going straight to conclusions and making assumptions. We need to get to know the other person and what is going on in their life. The solution could be to have places where kids can talk to each other and understand each other. There would be rules in place for the conversation. Students would have to listen without interrupting and find one positive point that the other person said. Martin Luther King Jr. just wanted people to unite and have peace in their lives. He didn't want them to have a dilemma with each other all the time, and he wanted us to have forgiveness. This is the reason why he made these speeches, for us to understand others and not just understand ourselves.
And the last in the intermediate category is Alexander Liu.
Years ago, I and my family relocated to Brookings, South Dakota from Mississippi, and we moved into our current house. Since then, we have really enjoyed this peaceful, friendly, and welcoming neighborhood. My brother and I have made a lot of friends. We play together, sleep over at different homes, and help each other at school. Even though we appreciate our new lives here, there are 2 unpleasant problems that keep annoying me. The first problem is that some kids we do not know are disrespectful to others. For example, they sometimes curse at other kids with inappropriate words. Their words are dirty, negative, and badly hurt others. The second problem is that some teenagers keep vandalizing the parks in our neighborhood. Some of them drew inappropriate images under the slides while others littered under the playgrounds. These problems must be solved immediately to make our neighborhood a better place so that kids can feel happier, safer, and prouder when they are playing in the neighborhood. As Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, the time is always right to do the right thing. So now is the right time to solve these problems. To solve these problems, we would first report those rude behaviors and the names of the students who engage in those behaviors to school teachers whenever they happen, and ask the teachers to educate those students, urging them to be more respectful and responsible. We will also invite parents from our neighborhood to be volunteers to monitor the park area and stop the words and behaviors if they are unacceptable. In the future, if we see such things happen again, we will also come to them and persuade them to treat others nicely and to stop ruining this place. Furthermore, we will try to make friends with them and encourage them to join us to protect the park equipment and keep the area clean and make our neighborhood a more welcoming, inclusive, and supportive community. We must take these actions now to solve the problems because these actions are the right things to do, and now is the right time. More than that, we also need to persuade others to do the right things, to change for the better now, because now is always the right time to make changes. We have an opportunity to make America a better nation. Dr. King said this on the eve of his death. Inspired by Dr. King in his various speeches, we will follow his footsteps to make our neighborhood a better place.
Right, we'll move on to the middle school category. We asked the middle school students to select a quote that can help create a more just, inclusive, and peaceful society, what their aspirations are for their community, and how they can work with their peers to make a difference. The first place winner in the middle school category is Sunny.
With the playfully blissful laughter of children, the gentle hum of roadside conversations, and the faint smell of cookies in the air, growing up in Brookings has been incredibly peaceful. However, it is this very serene life Brookings offers us that shields us from a nation, a world filled with fear, division, and injustice. Although it's difficult, it is imperative we look beyond our sheltered communities and fight for unity, inclusivity, and peace. In the words of the great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., it is, together we craft the tapestry of justice and weave the threads of inclusivity, and sow the seeds of peace. Our collective actions forge the path towards a brighter tomorrow. This fight will never be easy. Only through our collective efforts and active involvement we can bridge the social division we see throughout the country and the world. Divisiveness has been intricately woven within our society. In recent years, the world has been entangled in conflicts that challenge these very pillars of a peaceful society. Justice, inclusivity, and empathy we hope to achieve. There is a recent rise in hatred against immigrants, anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, and intense animosity between left and right-wing political groups in the USA. Anti-Semitism, historically ingrained in various societies, has seen a resurgence in recent times, opening the scars of Holocaust. The tragedies of the 2018 synagogue shooting in Pittsburgh, desecration of Jewish cemeteries, and discriminatory policies serve to underscore the persistent nature of this prejudice. Similarly, over the last few months, Islamophobia has mainly fueled by misconceptions, stereotypes, and fear was gained prominence in public discourse and action. It is this intolerance that would lead to an explosive conflicts we see throughout the world. From the conflicts between the Shia and Sunni Muslims in Yemen to the raging war in the Gaza Strip, and even the Rohingya genocide in Myanmar. Across the globe, generations have suffered at the hands of these raging conflicts, rooted in hatred, structural oppression, and intolerance. Socio-political tensions, economic difficulties, and misinformation propagated through social media amplify existing prejudices against already marginalized communities, fostering an environment conducive to discrimination. Extremist ideologies amplified by certain political narratives further exacerbate these issues, causing division, distrust, and hostility within our very community. It is only through collective efforts to systemically dismantle ignorance and injustice that we can bridge the social division we see throughout the country and the world. We must strive to create safe spaces where diverse perspectives are not only heard, but truly respected. Education plays a pivotal role in dispelling stereotypes and promoting understandings of different cultures. School and community should prioritize comprehensive education about diverse cultures, religions, and histories to foster empathy and appreciation for differences. I am committed to fostering these dialogues and learning about the diverse cultures and religions of the world. Let's all pledge to discover 1 or 2 facts about different cultures and religions every week. Use the power of social media to spread the truth in the fight against ignorance. It is through fostering an environment that honors and values these differences that we can move closer to an inclusive and just society. Most people don't believe the world will change, but the people who change the world always believe. Through amplifying and listening to all voices, not just the loudest ones, I believe we can, in the words of Dr. King, forge the path toward a brighter tomorrow.
And next, I invite Sinan Theodore Brudick to the podium.
Sounds good. Dr. King, one of the most admired and respected human rights activists and Nobel Prize winners, has always been an admiration. I remember reading books about his life when I was still a little boy. One particular children's book by Meltzer continues to be my favorite. The book describes how Dr. King encountered marginalization as a little boy due to his race. He would get upset about these incidents. However, his mother would tell him that he should not let hate take over his heart, and that he needed to love people regardless of their behavior. His mother's advice inevitably shaped his thoughts, beliefs, and most importantly, moral grounds from which he operated. His quote, "The time is always right to do what is right," reveals Dr. King's character and his sound moral principles. This is why I chose this quote. Given his personality and core values, it is thus not surprising that Dr. King encouraged us to do what is right courageously. This statement has implications at different levels. At the individual level, it means taking action when we see people engaging in unjust, insensitive, or hurtful behaviors. According to the National Center for Educational Statistics, in 2019, 1 in 5 students indicate being bullied in school. A significant number of these students reported being bullied in public places in the school. This means that others witnessed the emotional or physical assault, but chose not to do the right thing. Sadly, 41% of the bullied students indicated that they expected to be exposed to the same violence again. These students indicated that they got bullied because of their physical appearance, race, and sexual orientation. One cannot stop thinking about the transformative impact of Dr. King's aforementioned words if they became part of our value system. What if we all operate from such a high moral compass like Dr. King? I do not doubt that the schools would be safer where we all feel free to learn, explore, and grow. At a global level, we are experiencing similar types of conflicts. According to the Armed Conflict Location Event Project, or Data Project, a substantial portion of the world's major conflicts that claim a significant number of innocent people's lives. To give a few examples, on December 21st, 2023, North Korea launched an intercontinental ballistic missile with clear intentions to attempt to wage war against South Korea. As we all know, the tensions have been increasing between these two countries for the past few years. Ukraine and Russia have been at war as well, which has caused significant casualties and costs to both countries. More recently, the Israel-Hamas conflict dominated the media, exposing the scary and ugly faces of war. Some claim that 19,000 people died as a result of this conflict. The Institute for Economics and Peace Annual Global Peace Index revealed that more than 238,000 people were killed in global conflicts last year, a 96% increase year over year in deaths related to disputes. Perhaps being somewhat naive, I cannot stop getting discouraged about the senselessness and persuasive wars that impact all of us. During these times, I understood how powerful Dr. King's message was to us and the whole world. I know that every one of us, regardless of our age and power, must do the right thing to create a better life and opportunities for all of us. I will take this opportunity to dream about a community initiative that I would name Doing the Right Thing for Our Community. Under the supervision of our administration and school, me and my friends can collaboratively address poverty issues in our town. The poverty rate in Brookings is reported as 15.3%, 3% higher than the average poverty rate for the state. This initiative can include a food drive to provide food and clothing drive to offer appropriate attire for individuals who are in need. I believe we can launch this initiative in Mickelson Middle School in January to honor Dr. King as dedication to the betterment of marginalized communities. As Martin Luther King once said, our lives begin to end the day that we become silent about things that matter.
And the final honoree in the middle school category is Lewis.
My favorite quote that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. stated is, "If we are to have peace on earth, our loyalties must become ecumenical rather than sectional. Our loyalties must transcend our race, our tribe, our class, and our nation. And this means we must develop a world perspective." This quote tells us that it is better to be united than to be separated. It is quite normal that each person has their own opinions and beliefs, and those opinions and beliefs must be respected. However, it is more important for us to establish an inclusive community that best reflects our common interests, providing protection for all community members and promoting equality among them. Then, the question is how to create such a community. In my opinion, we can try the following ways. First, we need to provide everyone with much needed education or training opportunities for them to reach their fullest potential. Second, we need to set up an effective mechanism to incorporate different ideas, manage conflicts, and enable us to learn from our differences. Last, we should generate necessary resources to offer additional support to the people who are in need. The financial status of a number of families in Brookings is low. Their household incomes are below the national average and are close to the poverty line. The essential reason is that most of those families do not care about education, and they don't even realize the importance of education. To address this issue, I and my friends will reach out to those families, explaining to them how education can change their lives, persuading parents to support their kids to get better education, and themselves to seize available job training opportunities to be qualified for well-paying jobs in local industries such as Avera, Daktronics, and Larson Manufacturing. I also plan to work with my friends to organize workshops to enable our community members to better handle our differences and manage our individual conflicts. In those workshops, we will invite professors from the School of Education, Counseling, and Human Development from South Dakota State University to teach us fundamental and advanced conflict management skills. Every community member in Brookings, regardless of their race, their tribe, and their class, will be invited to the workshop series. It is expected that through these workshops, the Brookings residents will be able to better understand each other and be more cooperative. In order to secure resources for the people who are in need, we will organize annual fundraising campaigns to encourage financial donations. We will also contact managers at First Bank and Trust, Avera, and other organizations for their help. An account will be established to receive the donations. A portion of the donations will be sent to the low-income families based on their need. The remaining portion of the donations will be used to enhance local facilities. I believe through these methods, as well as other effective measures, we will be able to transform Brookings to a better place by transcending our limitations and developing a world perspective among this community. Dr. King sacrificed his life serving others and seeking equality and human rights for African Americans, the economically disadvantaged, as well as all victims of injustice. As a second-generation American from a minority group in 2023, Asians only take up to 1.44% of the South Dakota population. I am living a happy life with my loving family, receiving excellent education and equal opportunities in school, and enjoying friendships with my schoolmates of different genders, race, and ethnicities because what Dr. King did. I will carry on Dr. King's legacy and continue to fight for what is right, and strive for what is just, and to find within itself the spirit, the sense of purpose that can remake a nation and transform the world.
We're moving on to the final category. So we asked high school students to select a quote from Dr. King to explore how the principles of justice and oneness can be used to transform our divided world into a united one. What solutions would they offer to promote peace and equity in our community? The first place prize goes to Michelle Hyuk. Please come up, Michelle.
Dr. Martin King Luther Jr. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was a great man who touched all American hearts and influenced the United States to change into a greater nation. Born on January 15, 1929, at Atlanta, Georgia, Dr. King was a Baptist minister, social activist, and a visionary leader. He was most known for his leadership of the American Civil Rights Movement in the 1960s, a nationwide movement for equal rights for African Americans. His ideology called for the end of segregation and for the nation to come together as a united land of the free. Martin Luther King Jr.'s principles and philosophy is an inspiration for us to change our world, our community, our people, and our lives to promote peace and equality. Looking at one of his quotes from the 1963, from his book, Strength to Love, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that." It represents Dr. King's views on life and gives a solution to how we, as American citizens, can drive out darkness in ourselves and in the world. By his emphasis on how only light and only love can defeat darkness and hate, he gives a notion that the only way to eradicate the poison in our society is to kill them with kindness. When we exercise the principles of goodness, equality, justice, and unity, we can stop the hate and violence that occurs when we're faced with our differences. As Dr. King states, accepting and appreciating everyone for who they are can reconstruct this community infested with separation into a greater place where we can all be united. There are many ways we can implement this philosophy in our collective lives. For one, we can work together to combat inequality happening in our community by treating everyone with respect and dignity without considering our class, status, gender, or race. It takes only one person to do the right thing to motivate younger and older generations around them to follow suit. Moreover, instead of resorting to violence, we can practice our right of free speech by peacefully protesting and vocalizing our opinion to the public following Dr. King's example during the civil rights movement. Voicing what we believe are right will protect against acts of wrongdoing and corruptness and grant positive changes to our growing community. Dr. King is an inspiration to me to peacefully fight against injustice even if no one else is, and to never give up on my dreams. Because of his determination and strength, I am inspired every day to follow his example and work hard towards my dreams and what I believe in. For I know I can make a difference in this world, even if it's one step at a time. All in all, we can use Martin Luther King Jr.'s ideas to actions and influence our daily lives to make a change for the better. Some solutions I offer to play out Dr. King's vision in my community would be to start an older brother, older sister program, organize events that celebrate diverse cultures, and start a program that lets teenagers and young adults in Brookings to talk and debate about regional, national, and worldly problems happening in the community. Firstly, I would like to suggest a mentorship program in Brookings that pairs an at-risk child with a volunteering young adult, teenager, or an adult who will give guidance and mentorship when the parent or guardian is unable to. Having this older brother/older sister program will give mentees the opportunity to grow self-confidence, create healthy relationships, and get the support to do well in academics and activities. Moreover, this will benefit the mentor by expanding their leadership skills, giving them insight into adolescence development, giving them responsibilities, and improving their supervisory skills. Having this system in place will give the less fortunate children an opportunity for empowerment and promote peace, self-development, and self-freedom in this community. Furthermore, having events that celebrate the different cultures in this community will promote everyone else's and everyone's sense of belonging. Organizing gatherings that give a space for everyone to appreciate different cultural holidays such as Hanukkah, Lunar New Year, and the Day of the Dead, and other cultural celebrations with others will promote exposure and appreciation for the unique traditions and backgrounds that are all present in this town. Adults can implement this solution by putting up notices in the newspaper, spreading the word, and young adults can also help by volunteering to help set up the spaces for the gatherings. Furthermore, another solution I have to promote equality and equity in Brookings is starting a program that encourages young adults to communicate among other community members of their age from diverse backgrounds from different public ideas. This will give a space for community members to listen to other people's opinions and perspectives and find a solution that agrees with everyone to promote equality. Adults can help with this by providing a space for the members to meet regularly. And to summarize, I strongly believe that these solutions will help the community live out Dr. King's dream of fairness, peace, and acceptance among everyone. The legacy of Dr. King Jr.'s on rights will have an effect on us today. It inspired us to live out what he worked so hard to do and what he died doing. And it inspires us to never give up on what we believe is morally right, even if it means being an outsider. Using his principles and ideology, we as a community, as citizens of the United States, can transform this world into a better one that is free from prejudice and where everyone is united as human beings. From Dr. King's own words, let us, from every mountainside, let freedom ring.
And next up is Nana Kwame Jomo.
It is not enough to say we must not wage war. It is necessary to love peace and sacrifice for it. We must concentrate not merely on the negative expulsion of war, but the positive affirmation of peace. MLK Jr. says in this quote that merely advocating against war is not enough, as mere passiveness or an anti-war stance is insufficient. King advocated for the idea that loving peace is an essential part of peace-seeking. Love in this context implies an overpowering commitment to the well-being of humanity. The quote brings the concept of sacrifice, showing one must sacrifice selfish interests and make difficult choices for the greater good of humanity. This includes not only focusing on negative aspects of war, but actively making attempts to build peace, equality, and justice in society. The essence of Dr. King's words calls for us to move past a passive refutation of war and instead actively engage in creating a peaceful world. At the time, Dr. King was referencing the Vietnam War. He stated, "I oppose the war in Vietnam because I love America. I speak out against it not in anger, but with anxiety and sorrow in my heart, and above all with a passionate desire to see our beloved country stand as a moral example to the world." In our contemporary world, conflict persists on the global scale. Living in a place such as South Dakota, tuning out tumultuous events beyond our immediate surroundings may be tempting. However, as history continually demonstrates its tendency to repeat, it remains crucial to remain vigilant and engaged. Even amid the ongoing conflict in Gaza between Palestine and Israel, there is a risk of indifference prevailing among individuals in places like South Dakota or broader America, where ignorance and misinformation can unfortunately be prevalent. Despite the geographical distance, fostering awareness and concern for global issues is important, transcending the confines of our local environment. Embracing principles of justice and unity serves as the tool for instigating positive change. Through actors like social media, we are aware of issues belong beyond our immediate surroundings. And with this, we have the opportunity to disseminate knowledge and advocate for peace. Reflecting on the Vietnam War's atrocities, many were unaware of until after its conclusion, shows the power of awareness. Drawing inspiration from Dr. King's wisdom and historical insights, we can endeavor to reshape our fractured world into a cohesive one. This begins with uncomplicated yet impactful actions, such as raising awareness and engaging in open discussions about global issues on a widespread scale. In line with MLK's timeless wisdom in his speech, "What is your blueprint for life?" he implores to always feel that you count, always feel that you have worth, and always feel that your life has ultimate significance. Dr. King encourages the importance of recognizing self-worth and acknowledging that despite life's complexities, every individual holds value. In essence, cultivating self-respect, recognizing that respecting others emanates from first learning to respect oneself. Dr. King's impactful words resonate deeply in my daily life and the lives of countless others, providing a steadfast assurance of our value, especially during challenging moments. His wisdom has taught me the vitality of nurturing a sense of importance and worthiness within ourselves. By internalizing these principles, individuals become better equipped to contribute positively to the world and embark on life with a sense of hope. I firmly believe instilling these values is important for creating and sustaining positive effects within society. Dr. King's encouragement to pursue one's dream is about cultivating self-purpose, a foundational element without which the realization of aspirations seems unattainable. Dr. King also spoke dearly of forgiveness and loving one another. He famously stated, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that." MLK's words show the overpowering aura of love over hate and light over darkness. He calls for individuals to approach conflicts and interactions with a positive and loving mindset. In our daily lives, it's easy to have a classmate or teacher you dislike, a family member you despise, or even a coworker you are fed up with. But MLK's words push the idea of pursuing a culture of compassion and loveness that can lead to happier and fulfilling lives. And these principles we can apply in both work, home, and educational settings. In my community, I notice all the time many people are painfully ignorant of their words and ideology and do not reflect upon how it negatively affects them and other people. Drawing from MLK's principles and philosophies, a great way to promote peace and equity is simply just talking. King understood words have immeasurable power. The tongue is what I believe to be the most powerful weapon any human possesses. When words enter our hearts, they plant seeds in our minds and can change the lens we look at life. Words can destroy and hurt, but they are also able to heal and bring people together. By doing things as simple as talking to one another about promoting peace and love, bringing awareness to issues, and promoting self-worth, we can actively help our community. Every individual matters, and no matter how small you think your words are, you have no idea how much they could influence someone, and in turn, they go and influence someone else. King knew words were more powerful than any weapon, and through peaceful protests and loving words, he was able to change the world. Potential for positive change lies within the hands of both young people and adults, offering an opportunity to rectify the errors of preceding generations and shape the trajectory of the future. The responsibility begins with us, the torchbearers of the future, as we leverage Dr. King's principle-wielding words as a transformative force. Through this, we are actively able to contribute to healing and encouraging love, peace, and equity in a world often overshadowed by darkness and hatred.
And finally, Danica Claire Jones.
I was told I wasn't going to be presenting today. We may all have come on different ships, but we're in the same boat now. Martin Luther King Jr. As people, we grow up being taught that everyone is different. A factual statement, yes, and one of the most important ones you can teach a child. But we must be careful with this wisdom. After all, when everybody is different, how can anybody be equal? It's you versus them. It's one without another. There's no common ground. Except there is. We are all the same in one single way. We are all human, all of us, the exact same species. Human beings worthy of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, as said by Thomas Jefferson. As human beings with human souls, struggle is something that we are destined to face. Every single one of us, no matter how sheltered someone is. We go through different situations in different lives, and yet that one very concept remains universal: hardships. It is the one thing we can all relate to. Some may have only struggled a little, while others struggle a lot. Some may face internal troubles, while others face the external. Yet the point remains the same. We all bleed the same human blood, and we bleed a lot. Martin Luther is correct in the sense that we have all experienced different things and come on different ships. And I would add on to this that we were always in the same sea, the sea of being a person, simply because of the fact that we are all humans trying our best to survive in a chaotic world. And why add to that chaos? Why make the waves rock the ship even harder? The world we live in is incredibly divided, not just on borders, but on ideas and personalities. It's okay to be different. It's completely natural to not understand others' perspectives at first glance. After all, you are not that person. The trouble arises when you don't attempt to listen and respect. You and this other person came from completely different boats. You do not know what they truly experienced on their boat, and they don't know what you experienced on yours. Now that almost all of us are on the same boat of modern human experience, shaking the ship and splashing the waters with hatred and fear is going to get everyone deeper. Fights spread like wildfires, and this boat might as well be made out of wood. Hatred fuels hatred. When you're in a state of hatred, it spreads. When you're in a state of anger, it spreads. And since not everyone agrees on everything, this hatred will be directed towards you and the people you love. The brain's flaw of being too caught up in disagreements and hatred for anything different will be the downfall of the human race. When you're sinking the boat, you're taking everyone else down with you, your loved ones included. The ability to despise something or someone so carnally takes a massive amount of energy. Direct that energy towards something better. Recognize that you are speaking to other human beings with human souls and try to learn. Would you like it if someone burned your side of the boat only to claim it was in their best interest? If we can recognize that we are all in this boat together and need everyone on board to keep the ship afloat, we can cooperate better. Our energy can go towards keeping our ship from sinking if we find a way to work together and not battle over our ideas. Learn the idea of loving every single person you see, and the odds that we stay above the ocean on a strong ship increases greatly.
Well, thank you all for participating and for helping us congratulate the winners.
Okay, we're going to take about a 5-minute recess so that parents can get their children home and get them to bed. Okay, let's resume the meeting. I do have a presentation. Lawrence Novotny, you want to meet me up at the podium there? Whereas Lawrence Novotny has made a substantial and sustaining impact on the city of Brookings through his 26 years of service on the Human Rights Commission. And whereas, in addition to volunteering as a Human Rights Commission recorder and LGBTQ+ liaison, Lawrence Novotny has worked tirelessly to make our community better for planning and hosting events, reviewing processes and ensuring the city of Brookings maintain a high municipal Equality Index score. And whereas Lawrence Novotny has kept the Human Rights Commission informed about pertinent legislative bills and drafted appropriate responses during lawmaking sessions. And whereas the 2007 Dorothy and Eugene T. Butler Human Rights Award was given to Lawrence Novotny for his staunch commitment to protecting human rights and promoting equity and inclusion. And whereas we, the people of Brookings, wish to recognize Lawrence Novotny because his civic engagement is unparalleled and a valuable model for all who follow. Now therefore, I, Opke G. Niemeyer, the mayor of the city of Brookings, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, January 23, 2024, as Lawrence Novotny Day.
Thank you.
Nice job, buddy. Go ahead.
Mayor Niemeyer, excuse me. Thank you very much for this honor. It is greatly appreciated. It has been rewarding to serve on the Human Rights Commission for a quarter of a century, working to make Brookings an inclusive community. Some of our accomplishments over the years are the MLK essay and poster contests, the diversity potlucks, community listening sessions, celebrations such as Juneteenth, Pride, and Indigenous Peoples Festival, programs centered around the SDSU Come and Read, and creation of the Butler Human Rights Award. One of the biggest accomplishments was the passage of the ordinance in 2017, which included inclusive non-discrimination coverage for LGBTQ individuals and changing the Human Rights Committee to a commission with enforcement powers. This resulted in Brookings becoming the only city in South Dakota to achieve the perfect score of 100 on the Human Rights Campaign's Municipal Equality Index for LGBTQ rights. None of this would not have been possible without the work of past and current HRC members, and especially with the support of past and current mayors, city council members, and city managers. Thank you to everyone for all of your dedicated work and for this recognition. It's greatly appreciated.
There you go. Yeah, might as well. Nice job, guys. Okay, I invite Casey Bell up for Employee Service Awards recognition.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. In December, we visited that reached a longevity milestone in 2023. During our visit, we thanked them for the years of service to the city, presented them with a longevity gift, and then, of course, snapped a photo of their friendly faces so that we could highlight them tonight. I'd like to take some time tonight to acknowledge those employees and thank them for all they do for our community. Brendan McCracken in the Finance Department with 25 years, Paul Brazino with 5 years, and Angie Ritter with 5 years. In the library, Catherine Eberline with 20 years, Grace Timmerman with 5 years. Parks, Rec, and Forestry, we have Chris Ingerbrecht with 15 years, Brianne Julius with 5 years, and Josh Bowman with 10 years. In the PD, we have Sean Peterson with 15 years, Terry Kuhn with 25 years, Austin Krutner with 5 years, and then not pictured, Dustin Ingstrom with 5 years, and Caleb Johnson with 5 years. In the engineering division, not pictured, we have Thad Dritz with 15 years. The solid waste division, Paul Hartley with 15 years. Last but not least, the street division, Josh McLean with 15 years, and Mike Billett with 10 years. Just want to say thank you again to all these employees. We are truly grateful for their commitment to our organization and to our community. Thank you.
Okay, I don't know if we have an SDSU report. I don't see Michael here this evening. We'll go on to contracts and changes. Action on resolution 24-006, resolution designating purchase authorities. John Thompson, our Public Works Director, will present this item.
Good evening, Mayor. Item number 7A is proposing a resolution that will, number 1, designate purchase authorities at the beginning of each fiscal year, which will in turn expedite our procurement process while maintaining compliance with state law. And number 2, direct staff to solicit local vendors, if such exist, that are in business of selling the services or equipment being procured. During the staff has received a quote, and by the time staff brings an item to City Council for approval, that vehicle or equipment is no longer available, and the ensuing lead times can be months, if not years, for heavy equipment. This would only pertain to budgeted line items that have already been adopted and approved by council, and the checks and balances in the system is via administration is still in place. If you look at the flow chart up there, again, this is only for items that are $50,000 or above, and the one little box on the right side, which comes back, like tonight we had several items on consent, that would go away, so that staff would have the authority through administration to commit to that bid immediately without coming back to council for a budgeted approved item. That, that concludes staff's presentation. I stand for any questions you may have.
Thank you, John. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any public comment on this item? Does council have any questions, comments? Councilmember Tilton Burn.
I see that you have included the local preference, and you talked a little about that. Can you just explain a little bit about how that process would, like a scoring model, or how that might be rated in the selection process?
So what we've done on the resolution now, it's a directive to staff. So if we're going to buy a light-duty vehicle, we know our dealers within town. We ask that the staff ask and solicit those car dealers if they can meet the state bid, meet or beat the state bid. Earlier on consent tonight, we had a hybrid truck, and one of the local vendors actually beat the state bid on that, so that's what we had approval. So yeah, that's basically what it is.
Councilmember Specker, do you have a question?
Yes. More.
It'd be for state law for the bidding purposes for $50,000 or greater, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Wendell on the phone? Do we have him?
No, he has not joined us.
All right, just want to make sure he's got a comment if he does. All right, please call the roll.
Rasmussen.
Aye.
Specker.
Aye.
Tilton Burn.
Aye.
Avery.
Aye.
Niemeyer.
Aye. Item 7B, action on resolution 24-005, a resolution awarding the bid for the Pioneer Park Bandshell Restoration Project. Kristen Zimmerman, our Park Rec and Forestry Director, will present this item.
Good evening. Kristen Zimmerman, Parks, Recreation, and Forestry. The item before you is for the restoration project for the Pioneer Bandshell, which includes some needed repairs for the front, improving the drainage, and then the recommended items are the ADA ramp going up to the stage and also needed stucco repairs. We have $200,000 from city funds committed, $10,000 in grants, and then the remaining $4,300 will be made up in park maintenance funds. So we'll just incorporate that into our budget. So What is before you is accepting the low base bid of $175,500, and then add alternates 1 and 2 for an additional $38,800 for a total project of $214,300. That also includes denying add alternates 3 through 5.
Thank you. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved and second. Is there any public comment on this item? Council questions, comments? Go ahead. Go ahead, Wayne.
Just one question. Some of the reason that we're doing this is that, of course, the building was built in the 1930s or the structure, but there are also some issues with vandalism. Just people just busting up the brick on the front and painting things on the walls and stuff. Is there anything we can do to stop that or curb that?
There's some preventative coatings that we could add after the fact. We did some research, and originally the Pioneer Band shell did not have the brick front. So we confirmed that with the State Historic Preservation Office. So our recommendation is not to replace the brick front, which will help make covering the vandalism easier after the fact.
That some of the stucco is going to get repaired also? Okay. I know that the size of it's is not going to change.
Correct.
Correct?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, comments? Please call the roll.
Specker.
Aye.
Tildenburn.
Aye.
Avery.
Aye.
Niemeyer.
Aye.
Rasmussen.
Aye.
Thank you. Item 7D, action on resolution 24-012, a resolution for the intent to lease real property at 217 4th Street, the location of the former food pantry, to the East Central Mental Health and Chemical Dependence Center, doing business as Brookings Behavioral Health and Wellness. Oh, I'm sorry, we missed one. I'll bring that back up, Kristen, I'm sorry. It's 7C, but we'll do the 7D since I've already read through it, John. Yes, I'm sorry.
We can definitely move on to 7D. John Thompson again with Public Works. 7D is requesting a real property to the East Central Mental Health and Chemical Dependence Center, doing business as Brookings Behavioral Health and Wellness, which we all know as Ivy Center. So that's what to expand its current facility on 4th Street, and has requested the use of the old food pantry property to be used basically as a late materials laydown yard during construction period. If approved, the lease will start in April 2024 and will be in effect for approximately 18 months with an option to extend it for 2 months. Since the lease property also includes 13 parking stalls in the 72-hour parking lot, we've asked the Ivy Center representatives to ensure that they make every effort to minimize the duration. Those stalls will be unavailable for the public. Basically, after the initial construction framing is complete, they'll minimize that property so they can get the parking stalls back open. Upon termination of the lease, the Ivy Center will restore the property back to pre-lease conditions. Proposed lease does not have any consideration or rent, as the Ivy Center provides essential behavioral health and wellness services to the community of Brookings. And that concludes staff's presentation. Stand for any questions.
Thank you, John. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Any public comment on this item? Comment from council? Questions? Councilmember Specker.
I have a question on has that been discussed or thought about?
No, not yet. We're still contemplating that site as a potential site for the police facility, but we're looking at other alternatives right now. So until that site has been determined, the answer is no, not at this time.
Okay, thank you.
All right, please call the roll.
Avery.
Aye.
Niemeyer.
Aye.
Rasmussen.
Aye.
Specker.
Aye.
All right, let's double back to 7C. I'm sorry, Kristen. Action on Resolution 24009, a resolution authorizing the city to enter into a contract with Turf Tank USA Incorporated. Kristen Zimmerman, our Park Rec and Forestry Director, present this item.
Good evening. Turf tank is, I get very excited about this kind of stuff, so I apologize in advance. But the turf tank is pretty exciting. It's basically a Roomba that paints lines for soccer fields and baseball fields, and also like parking lot lines for like Summer Arts Festival, right? As you can see, painting lines, staff it requires a lot of hours and a lot of staff time. Seasonal staff is harder and harder to come by, so this is one of the ways that we're looking at combating some of the challenges finding seasonal staff. Here's outlined with the hours that we spend, basically with weekly linings, without the turf tank. The contract is $16,000 a year, and it's a 6-year contract. There is an additional $1,700 for a setup fee. Within the first year, we're breaking about even. It's about $700 more the first year, but then we'll be saving money each additional year. The biggest savings to us is saving staff time. So we're able to do some of those deferred maintenance lists and really make our parks, we love our parks, but making them look even better, right? So here you can see kind of a quick breakdown, and this is just year one cost. So it's pretty comparable, but again, the biggest savings to us is staff hours.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Kristen. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and second. Is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, does the council have questions, comments? Councilmember Specker.
Sorry. The cost, the turf tank itself, it's going up, what, 440 the second year? Or, no, without, okay. So this is cost without it versus with on the first year, and you said that it then becomes, the savings are exponential or whatever.
Yeah.
Are we locked into the price per year with turf tank?
We are for the 6-year contract. However, we can get out any year that if we're not happy with the product, we can just cut bait.
So that price stays the same, whereas salaries would increase
Correct.
yearly?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Please call the roll.
Avery,
Aye.
Niemeyer,
Aye.
Rasmussen,
Aye.
Specker, aye. Tilton Burn.
Aye.
All right. Item 8A, public hearing and action on a commercial corridor design review overlay district site plan for Lot 4, Block 4, Southland Edition. Mike Struck, our Community Development Director, will present this item.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the. Before you tonight is a commercial corridor design review overlay site plan. Location is along in that approximate location of Ace Avenue. Excuse me. The applicant is Quick Trip. They're looking at putting a C-store down in this particular location. They went to the development review team and worked through that process, as well as with the planning commission, and came up with a site plan here. There are 2 exceptions that they are seeking with this overall site plan. One is which it's a corner lot. This one is really unique. It actually has 3 frontages, so 3 front yards to the north, south, and to the west. With the commercial corridor, it has a requirement that they have the window glazing on the street facades. With the corner lot, especially to the west, that's the back of house operations for their particular facility. And there's also an increased setback there of about 59 feet to address some ADA concerns. Typically, we'd like to see these buildings slid to the front yard setback as a requirement, with the opportunity to project 10 feet into that setback, bringing those buildings and facades close to the street front. However, in this particular situation, the way the grade works, with it being established at the street intersections with the curb lines, they couldn't really lower the grade much. So if they didn't slide the building further to the east, it would result in steps and railings being necessary for entrance into the front entrance on the north. So we discussed that at great length, and both the Development Review Team and the Planning Commission agreed with the applicant that that's the best route to make sure that they can avoid steps leading into the front entrance, rather give you more of a gradual sidewalk slope up to the building. In addition, that addressed part of the glazing issue as well. Didn't feel that when all of a sudden the building's 59 feet set back from the Ace Avenue right-of-way frontage, that it was really going to make that significant of an impact. With the additional landscaping on the west side of the building, we did talk with the applicants, and they're agreeable to enhancing some of the plantings on that side of the facade just to break it up a little bit. The next exception is more so variance to our standard zoning practices, in that the trash enclosure can't be located in the front yard. In this particular location, they're proposing the trash enclosure on the southwest corner of the building. It's utilizing the same material as the main building. However, on the south side of the building, that is the delivery area and their unloading zone, and then also where they wanted to put their trash enclosure to kind of keep it all centralized, as most of the deliveries come in on the, you can kind of see it on the site plan, kind of on that west portion. There's kind of a narrow strip there. That's where the entrance is to bring the deliveries in. And they wanted to separate delivery and trash trucks from the general public that's traveling on the site. And so they felt that it was safer for their employees, because the majority of the waste is produced at the store. There will be some from some of the garbage receptacles at the fuel pumps and down by the car wash, but a vast majority of it is generated from the store, and it would eliminate those conflicts from pedestrians, employees walking through the parking lots with vehicles, as well as reducing your trash trucks from having to back up to load if we were to move it to the south portion of the lot. With that, those are the exceptions. It does come to you with a unanimous recommendation from the Planning Commission. With those exceptions, the Development Review Team did recommend approval, subject to the trash enclosure being moved south towards the car wash, but the Planning Commission, through discussions with the applicant, didn't support that particular request. So with that, I'd stand for any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mike. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second. Moved and seconded. Is there any public comment on this item? I will note also, City Clerk, we have Zach and Brent on the phone.
Correct.
And so if there's any questions directed to the future owners on this, or the management staff that's involved in this, please ask questions on that.
Great. This is Zach Poggle, Real Estate Development Manager with Quick Trip. I just want to relay our excitement to become part of your community and appreciate the Planning Department's support thus far in bringing this site plan forward.
Thank you. Any comments, questions from council? So Ace Avenue is along 20th Street. How far away is this avenue from, say, 22nd? To give everybody a little bit of an idea where it's at.
Three to 4 blocks, probably west of the intersection of 22nd Avenue and 20th Street South.
Okay.
Kind of as you're going up the hill to the west, kind of at the top of the hill where the old, some of us may refer to it as the old tree farm, kind of that location.
All right. Okay. Any other questions?
Are the hours limited on the concerns over something else going in that area due to residential, closeness to residential housing?
Typically, they're set up automatic car.
Had a complaint about that.
No.
Okay.
Niemeyer.
Aye.
Rasmussen.
Aye.
Specker.
Aye.
Tildenburn.
Aye.
Avery.
Aye.
All right. Item 8B, public hearing and action on Resolution 24-019, a resolution to amend the 2040 Comprehensive Plan's future land use map. Mike Strucker, Community Development
Zach
Director.
Poggle, Quick Star.
Has left.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. The resolution before you tonight is to address 2 amendments on our future land use.
Brent Dushek.
Has left.
Is how long on that 36th Street South, 37th Street South area on the east side of Main Avenue. It's outside current city limits, but it is within our joint jurisdiction zoning authority. And over to the right, you'll see the zoning map has a majority of the area is zoned agriculture, and then there's a small little corner down in the southwest that has an existing mobile home on site that is zoned R3A. The applicant recently purchased the property, would like to look at some commercial development down in that particular area, is seeking a zoning designation that would be more consistent with B3 type zoning. The future land use map down there identifies that, excuse me, that area as, I think it's urban low intensity, as well as some open space wetland areas. We had some discussion, we pulled some of the maps and looked at it. It's not contained within the current floodplain or the proposed floodplain. There's no wetlands listed on site. The additional criteria that was looked at to evaluate the future land uses, I think it was more based upon the soil characteristics and what some of their drainage classifications may be. And after reviewing the information and discussing it, the development review team was comfortable with proposing future land use map amendment that would amend it to an urban medium intensity that would support a future commercial rezoning in that particular area. The next comprehensive plan map amendment is located along 20th Street South, just to the west of Lucerne Avenue. There's 2 houses that sit just north of the Arbor Hill addition, 1800 and 1818 20th Street South. The developer of Arbor Hills has since acquired those 2 properties. Didn't have it at the time that he originally did the Arbor Hill development, but through that development process, they became available and he acquired it. Has an interest of a business zoning classification on there. And so currently the future land use map identifies that area as residential medium density. The current zoning is a combination of ag and R3 zoning. And so to support a future zoning request, the preference would be to amend the map to an urban medium intensity, which is similar to what it is classified just east across Lucerne Avenue. The urban medium would support a variety of, it supports a variety of different residential uses, but also allows like an office district, a local retail district, or a mixed use type development. Once again, the development review team reviewed this, provided a recommendation in support of the future land use map amendment, and it comes to you with a unanimous recommendation from the Planning Commission for these land use map amendments in our comprehensive plan. With that, I would stand for any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mike. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved second. Is there any public comment on this item? Council have any questions, comments? Please call the roll.
Avery.
Aye.
Niemeyer.
Aye.
Rasmussen.
Aye.
Specker.
Aye.
Tilton Burn.
Aye.
All right. Move on to ordinances and first readings. Item 9A, introduction and first reading on ordinance 24-001, an ordinance to change the zoning within the city of Brookings, 1.63 acres in section 1 from agricultural A district to residence R3 apartment district to business 2A office district. Mike Struck, our community development director, will present this item.
Agenda item 1800 and 1818 20th Street South. The applicant is proposing a rezone from Ag and R3 zoning districts to B2A commercial zoning district. The applicant doesn't have plans at this particular point in time, but is interested in getting the zoning in place as many developers are noticing with the 20th Street South corridor is changing, in particular once the interchanges went in place. And so just getting the zoning in place so that he can start looking at different opportunities that might exist out in this particular area. The B2A is kind of a buffer type district between residential uses in like a B2 commercial district. The B2A is one of our more restrictive business zoning districts. It does have certain uses that are a little bit more restricted from a square footage size than what would be allowed in a B2. We had quite a bit of discussion at the Planning Commission on this. Some of the neighbors came and discussed their concerns. A lot of the concerns revolved around a couple of uses, one being the coffee house, in particular the drive-throughs, and that how the coffee houses have changed over the years, where 30 years ago it was more of a sit down, socialize inside the building. Now it's more catered towards the automobile and getting through a lane as quickly as possible and carrying on with your day. Concerns generated from noise, headlights, and just the traffic. Another concern was from medical cannabis facilities and just concerns of introducing those into the particular neighborhood. The applicant at this time doesn't have an issue not allowing those types of uses. However, we need to avoid a conditional zoning in which we can approve the zoning based upon removing these types of uses. And so through some discussion, and I think a lot of it came down to is the Planning Commission struggled with it a little bit, but decided on a 6-to-1 vote that sometimes you have to look at the greater good over the individual. And they felt with the community of Brookings and how it's growing to the south and the needs of the neighbors to the south, that opportunities for commercial development need to be available in the southern area of the community. And so it does come to you with a 6-to-1 recommendation for approval from the Planning Commission. The Development Review Team supports the rezoning request. And when it comes forward with a project, if approved, it would still be subject to the Commercial Corridor Design Review Overlay requirements. So there would be site and design opportunities for review and approvals there, as well as there are buffer yard requirements that would be in place to provide some additional buffering to the residential structures to the west, south, and to alleviate some of their concerns. So with that, I stand for any questions you may have.
All right. This is first reading, so is there any public comment on this item? Council have any questions or comments at this time? Councilmember Specker.
I have a question on be in a drive-through. Would that just be a regular two?
A drive-through is allowed in just about any commercial district, with the exception, I think, in B1, which is our central business district, it's prohibited.
Okay.
I should note too, also, for maybe clarity or comfort level, this will be a topic of discussion at our February Planning Commission meeting, the B2A zoning district in particular, drive-throughs. So it's something that the Planning Commission, based upon kind of our January discussion, felt that it's something that we need to take a look at and discuss. Right now, I think the only B2A property that does have a drive-through is Scooter's Coffee on 22nd Avenue. That's zone B2A.
So is there a chance that it would be changed then?
There's a
in
chance
this-
that the Planning Commission may recommend changes to the zoning ordinance, and they would come forward to the City Council in the future regarding the B2A zoning district.
So would it make sense then to put this on hold until after that meeting?
Not necessarily, because we make changes for zoning districts all the time. Here, you're trying to identify whether or not this is an appropriate location for a B2A zoning district. And if it is, fine. If you don't feel it's appropriate, that's also fine. But we make textual changes to our zoning ordinance multiple times a year to clean up, to clarify, maybe to add something new because the trends are new. Trying to be a little bit more amenable to adjusting. I would say our coffee house definition may be a little antiquated with today's trends, and so we need to take a hard look at that.
So if they change it and then say a coffee house ends up wanting to go into here after that zoning regulations have changed, would that be allowed even though, or would this be grandfathered in?
So there's no use going on this property at this time. So any amendment that we would make to the zoning ordinance, at the time that they apply for a building permit, they would need, or in this case, commercial corridor, design review overlay, they would have to submit and meet our zoning ordinance at the time that they submit.
Okay, that's
So
good, yeah. I have one other question with the cannabis and the 300 feet, I think it is, from a church. Is that Baptist church 300 feet or further?
it's further than 300 feet away.
Okay.
You might want to note too that we've already have a in B2A already in the past year, so this is not like the first time this has come before us.
To give you an example of a type of use, the Bisson Dental, and I believe there's some office buildings in the Prairie Hills addition as well, west of Madera, between Madera and Maine.
Right.
And so ideally, that's what would work nice in this area, to those types of structures and uses that are not high-intensity uses after 5 p.m. in the evening, and the architecture of those can certainly be compatible with the existing residential structures.
Thank you.
All right, we'll have second reading on that. Introduction and first reading on ordinance 24-002, an ordinance authorizing budget amendment number 10 to the 2023 budget. Ashley Wrench, our finance director, will present this item.
Good evening. First reading of ordinance 24-002, amendment 10 to the 2023 budget. The Dakota Bank Center roof replacement project. And this replacement was the result of the damage done, sustained in the May 2022 derecho. This ordinance will increase our grants revenue budget by $334,561.50 for FEMA funds received for our the derecho, as well as increase our reimbursed expense budget by $1,656,317.44 for insurance funds received as a result of the damage. Our emergency event expense budget is also being increased by $1.25 million to account for the project costs. Second reading of this ordinance will be on February 13th. And with that, I'll stand by for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. Is there any public comment on this item? Council have any comments, questions? All right, second reading will also be on February 13th. Move on to item 10A, action on developers agreement for tax increment district number 15. Mike Struck, our community development director, will present this item.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. Action approve a development agreement for tax increment district number 15, which is located along Main Avenue South and Trail Ridge Road. And the development agreement would be between the LP. This is another good example of a public-private partnership. That will be a mixed-use project that will add both some commercial and residential units to the community. With this particular agreement, like I mentioned, the public-private partnership, the private developer will be able to utilize some of the increment generated from the project for some site improvements for the mixed-use development, as well as to help assist with some of the financing costs, as in today's market with the interest rates can sometimes kill a project pretty quickly. On the public side, it's an opportunity for the city to utilize some of the increment from this project to improve some of the rights-of-way along Main Avenue South between 8th Street South and 12th Street South. In particular, we're looking at moving the sidewalks a little bit further away from the back of curb, trying to provide a little bit more safer pedestrian way for people that want to utilize that Main Avenue South corridor. In total, it's roughly a $5 million tax increment financing district. I'm just going to give ballpark numbers here, but the developer is roughly getting about $3.5 million, with the city getting the additional $1.5, give or take a few dollars here and there. There are provisions in the development agreement that should the developer, they need to provide copies of their financing terms. And if they should decide in the future to refinance, they need to provide those updated terms and conditions to the city, so that we may have to adjust in case interest rates would plummet and go significantly down, which everybody would be very happy about, and they could refinance. There'd be cost savings. We want to ensure that we're also protecting the city's interests there, and that we could adjust based upon those new term sheets. With that, I would stand for any questions you may have, and staff does recommend approval.
Thank you.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and second. Is there any public comment on this item? All right. Council have any questions, comments? All right. It is a perfect example where the city gets involved and helps the developer get a project done that's necessary in the city. Thank you very much. Please call the roll.
Avery,
Aye.
Niemeyer,
Aye.
Rasmussen,
Aye.
Specker,
Aye.
Tilton Burn.
Aye.
All right. Action on a revised preliminary plat for lots 3 to 5 in Richard Price First Edition. Mike Struck, our Community Development Director, will present this item also.
Thank you. This is a preliminary intersection of 20th Street South and 22nd Avenue. This would be in the southwest quadrant, as shown on the highlighted area above. This particular preliminary plat would identify 3 lots for commercial development. There would be shared access drive serving the lots coming on to 20th Street South, as well as one on the 22nd Avenue. This was something that was reviewed and approved by the Planning Commission earlier this summer, contingent upon an approved preliminary drainage plan. Over the course of time, it took a little bit longer to get that. The developer changed their mind on a couple of things, but those changes can be approved administratively. They changed the name of the addition, and they changed the numbering of the lots. And so the very, very minor changes. They actually eliminated one access drive, went from 3 down to 2, so that's beneficial to the city from the perspective of traffic control, mitigation, trying to reduce the number of curb cuts directly out onto the street. Shared access drive provided, as I mentioned, off of 20th Street South and 22nd Avenue. There will be a future street called Canasta Lane to the south of these 3 lots. Does come to you with the unanimous recommendation from the Planning Commission, and the Development Review Team recommends approval, and I'd stand for any questions you may have.
Thanks, Mike. Entertain a motion to approve. So moved.
Second.
Been moved and second. Is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, is there comments, questions from council? Please call the roll.
Niemeyer.
Aye.
Rasmussen.
Aye.
Specker.
Aye.
Tilton Burn.
Aye.
Avery.
Aye.
All right. Item 10C, action on resolution 24-015, a resolution authorizing the licensing of the Flower Shop LLC as a medical cannabis dispensary in the city of Brookings. Bonnie Foster, our city clerk, will present this item.
Mayor, council members, and members of the public, the Flower Shop has applied for this medical cannabis license in the city of Brookings. This is to be located at the intersection of Madera Avenue and 6th Street. This site was formerly licensed as a medical cannabis facility, whom the owner at that time decided not to renew in December of 2023. The drive-through access within this building is not anticipated to be used. A review of the application was conducted by staff. Staff recommends approval. Please know that Peter Dukin, the owner, and Todd Voss, the property owner at the time it was formerly licensed at a medical cannabis facility, are here this evening if you have any questions.
All right. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved and second. Is there any public comment on this item? Council have any questions, comments? Please call the roll.
Rasmussen.
Aye.
Specker.
Aye.
Tilton Burn.
Aye.
Avery.
Aye.
Niemeyer.
Aye. Okay, on to item 11, progress report. Samantha Beckman, our assistant to the city manager, will present this item.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. This is right off the bat. We just want to remind everybody that we have a city election on January 30th, and that will be from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So make sure you get out and vote. And as of right now, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 until the end of the day on Monday, January 29th, we are doing early voting as well in the City County Government Center, so in this building on the first floor. Voting centers are going to be the Brookings Activity Center, Bethel Baptist Church, and Holy Life Tabernacle Church. A group of city councilors and staff also had the opportunity last week to attend the Brookings and SDSU Day at the Capitol, where we learned more about this legislative session and showed support for the community of Brookings. In the engineering division of the Public Works Department, there are several ongoing projects, including the University Boulevard project, the 32nd Avenue Detention Basin, the taxiway construction, and BMU's 20th Street South project. We also are in our final stages of developing the Stormwater Master Plan, and that will be coming back to you guys here shortly. And then hopefully this year we were still going to do the 6 Mile Creek study. In the solid waste division, we're currently in our implementation phase of the solid waste master plan. So doing some outreach, finishing up the leachate force main design and construction, and paving the parking lot. They were also really busy in early January here collecting holiday trees, and I think I heard that they had 120 trees, which is about 3.8 tons. And also brought on our new solid waste manager, Charlie Kuhn. In the streets division, they have been busy with winter operations being in full swing now, and continue to monitor the weather and do additional snow removal as necessary. This is a good opportunity again to remind everybody to sign up for snow alerts on the city's website. The police department had the opportunity to help out 37 families this year with food baskets, shopping, and gift cards during the Christmas Kids and Cops event. So thank you to Subway and Walmart for their participation in that event as well. The Brookings Police Department Foundation breakfast at the VFW was also a huge success. Thank you to the VFW auxiliary community members who came and those who served that morning. And we just want to remind you that the Brookings City Ordinance requires all dogs and cats 3 months or older to be licensed through the city. This will help us reunite you and your pet in the unforeseeable circumstance where your pet gets out. So I just want to make sure everybody's doing that this year. And if you have any questions on how to register your pet, please feel free to call the police department and ask. Officers also had the chance to work the SDSU football playoff games and helped send the Jacks off down to Frisco where they won. So congrats on that too. Go Jacks. And lastly, we have the Parks and Rec Department was busy with holiday decoration removal and also snow removal and started planning for some 2024 programs. We also just wanted to shout out to Ashley Bigger was promoted at the Dakota Bank Center. And the library is having a murder mystery game planned for the end of the month. So make sure you're signing up for that. And the winter reading challenge is now through the second week of February. With that, I'll take any questions.
Sam, any questions for Sam? Thank you. All right. Before I move on to the future agendas, city council members have anything that they want to bring up for future discussion? All right. Before I talk about the agenda, we do have the election obviously coming up on the 30th on Tuesday next week. But council also is going to have a planning retreat on January 31st starting at 5 p.m. and then all day on February 1st and then a half a day on the 2nd of February. It will be a stated meeting, I'm assuming, City Clerk, right?
Yes, a notice of quorum will be posted.
All right. And that will be held at the Dakota Bank Center all 3 days. And we'll go on to February 13th meeting. We'll have ex officio reports. We do have one contract or change order right now, resolution of necessity for sidewalk repairs. No first readings at the time, and then we'll have second readings on the two items that we had tonight. And then there is a renewal on on-sale wine license, or new wine license at one location, and then alcohol transfer also from one location to another. All right. With that being said, have an enjoyable week, the rest of the week, and safe week, and entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye.